Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bitcoin Student Network Virtual Summit. On this next panel, we'll be talking about building startups in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And I want to start by doing a brief introduction of the three panelists we have today. So, Sabina, let's start with you. Can you just tell us who you are and what you're building?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Sabina. It's 1 a.m. where I'm at right now. So I'm building Tando, and Tando is a mobile app that allows anyone in Kenya or anyone who comes to Kenya basically to spend Bitcoin anywhere M-Pesa is accepted in the country. So M-Pesa is our version of mobile money, and we achieve that by marrying the Lightning network, yeah, with the local mobile rails so that anyone can be able to use Bitcoin as money. And yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Let's go ahead and move on to Blake. Tell us who you are and what you're building, what you're doing in the space.
Yeah, my name is Blake. I am building BlitzWallet. BlitzWallet is a beginner Bitcoin focused wallet trying to enable users who would not normally use Bitcoin to actually use Bitcoin in situations that obviously they wouldn't before. My go-to example and the one that I love to share is that for the holidays, my mom likes to send, me and my brother some money so that we can go do something fun. And usually she'll Venmo us. But ever since building BlitzWallet and the experience that I've created, she now will actually send me Bitcoin. I haven't got my brothers there yet. I'm trying, but she'll send me Bitcoin over obviously the Bitcoin network, and that is showing the experience that obviously we've created. That I'm really excited about.
That's awesome. And just right in time for the holidays, right? You can just request Bitcoin instead of gross, stinky fiat.
Exactly.
Okay, so Shazan, let's move on to you. Tell us who you are and what you're building.
Hey, I'm Shazan. I'm the founder of Lava. Lava is like a premier Bitcoin wealth management platform. So we offer Bitcoiners the ability to get dollars against their Bitcoin so they don't have to sell their Bitcoin. We offer a Bitcoin line of credit. So it's the most flexible, lowest cost, easiest way to borrow against Bitcoin.
Awesome. Love it. Well, thank you guys all for that quick introduction. Let's go ahead. Let's start with Sabina. I want to learn more about Tando and kind of what you're building there. I know you're bridging Bitcoin and M-Pesa, Kenya's most popular mobile money system. Why is building on existing infrastructure important for Bitcoin adoption in emerging markets, and what kind of challenges have you faced with that?
Okay, so the simple answer to that is familiarity. Um, I find that when you localize, Bitcoin solutions and make them feel like um, an existing not an existing rather, but you make them feel like old tools or bridges that people have always used for years. Like there's that familiarity that makes them feel comfortable to even, try this Bitcoin thing. Like here in Africa, Bitcoin already has people have like a lot of misconception about it, that it's a scam or it's just for the rich people or the educated people. But through localizing like, these Bitcoin solutions and making them feel like an extension of already existing tools, it makes it easy for them to see it as, not just this magic internet money that is unreachable. It makes it feel like, something they can use,
Yeah.
um, something they're familiar with. And so for us integrating it with M-Pesa, it's just basically another M-Pesa, but a better M-Pesa built on, the Bitcoin Foundation, because the UX is the same, everything is the same. It's so simple. It's just like we're using Bitcoin as the foundation. And we found that when we introduce Bitcoin to people and we show them Tando and how easy it is to actually use this Bitcoin, when we show them that it's money, it's tangible through Tando, then that's when it clicks and they're like, oh wow, this is money and it's actually something that can help me. Then yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and learn more about it. And we find them like registering for free Bitcoin classes. They become more curious. They start attending like meetups and so on and so forth. So I think it's important to build on already existing infrastructures because it helps build that familiarity and helps people become comfortable in using these
Yeah.
tools. When it comes to challenges, I always say like, building on like legacy systems that have been here for years is never easy. Like there are always challenges here and there. But
Sure.
I do believe that it's in these challenges that there are opportunities and, they help us to learn the mistakes and grow and, move fast.
Yeah, I love that. Challenges and or opportunities in the challenges. That's really good. Blake, let's move on to you. What I know Blitz Wallet focuses on making self-custody simple for the more non-technical users. What kind of design principles have been critical in achieving this, and how has the open source community supported that work?
It's exactly what Sabina said. It's using interfaces that are familiar
Mm,
to current users, right? Like when we think about how you get a user from traditional financial applications like a Venmo, like a Cash App, or a Zelle, like what they're used to, and then trying to move them into Bitcoin, we should not necessarily be framing the question of how can we improve the Bitcoin experience. It's how can we create the Bitcoin experience that mimics what they're already used to in the traditional financial applications,
mm,
right? So when I thought of, okay, how can we make a simple user experience for Bitcoin payments, I looked at, okay, what are users used to? Well, if we look at Venmo, they're used to a context-based send and request features, right? So I thought, okay, how can I then architecture a wallet based on context-based sending and requesting? So when I go through design processes within BlitzWallet, I'm always trying to think of how can I make the experience
mhm,
that I'm trying to create familiar with the user so that the bridge to Bitcoin isn't actually that complex. And then in terms of the open source ecosystem, it has been honestly the backbone to the success that Blitz
mm,
has had. Right? Like I'm building the wallet, but I'm not building the wallet for me. I'm building the wallet for the users. And who are the users? Well, they're the people, they're the Bitcoiners, right? And those Bitcoiners are the open source contributors. So when they come into the Blitz Wallet Telegram or put issues on the GitHub, they are really the ones building the wallet. I'm just the technical interface guy on the keyboard sitting at my desk, right? But the community is actually the one
yeah,
building the wallet. So they've been instrumental to the success that BlitzWallet has had.
that's awesome. I love the Bitcoin community. There's nothing like it, right? Okay, so Shazan, Lava allows people to borrow against their Bitcoin without selling it. Who do you think is your target customer, and what kind of real world problems are you solving that couldn't be addressed before with that?
So we've had a lot of different types of users use Lava over the years. I can go and maybe share some personas and why people
Yeah,
use it. So we've one of the biggest use cases for Lava is either buying a house or financing a down payment because a lot of Bitcoiners, they've saved their way through wealth. One of the most interesting things about Lava is a lot of our users don't really have high paying jobs, but the reason they have accumulated this wealth is through saving. And I think that's really inspiring because it shows that there's a path to financial freedom that's through saving, not gambling. And I think that's a big part of what Bitcoin is about, being sound money. So a lot of our users, they've unlock this wealth through their Bitcoin savings. They want to borrow against it so they can keep Bitcoin's upside, still be aligned with Bitcoin, but make those dream purchases that they want. So buying a house is huge because actually a lot of Bitcoiners find it really hard to get a mortgage the same way that, because their incomes might not be as reliable and relative to their wealth.
sure.
Down payment financing is huge, especially since housing prices have increased so much. A lot of
Mhm,
people struggle with saving for a down payment, but with Lava, we've actually partnered with another mortgage company where you can actually, for Bitcoiners, reduce the cost of monthly ownership for homes by half by using Lava to finance the down payment and get this assumable loan as an assumable mortgage, which is half the interest rates that people are getting elsewhere in current mortgages. We've had a lot of people refinance other higher interest rate debt using the Lava BLOC. We've had people buy cars, pay taxes, a lot of home renovation.
wow.
One of the things that's really interesting about Bitcoin is a lot of Bitcoiners are very like
Mhm,
sovereignty minded. one of the things that Bitcoiners can uniquely do because they've accumulated this wealth through Bitcoin is actually build their own homes. It's actually impossible to really get home building financing. But if you can have this asset that you can tap into, a lot of Bitcoiners have used Lava to actually just build their dream house from scratch and finance
Wow.
with Lava. So there's been a lot of like very interesting use cases. One interesting thing about Lava is we serve people all around the world. So we see all these different use cases from people of different, backgrounds, jobs, and it's been very inspiring to see that Bitcoin does touch people that are not just on the internet, but around the world that are just saving in Bitcoin and, using it as their means to grow into financial freedom.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm super bullish on that. So thanks for sharing. Okay, so here's a question for everybody. We'll each get 1 minute to respond. What is one piece of advice you'd give to students in the audience who want to build their Bitcoin projects or startups?
I can
We can
start.
start. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and start. We'll make
I mean,
our way
I,
back.
I just loved what my colleagues Blake and Sabina talked about earlier, which is that you should always focus on the product experience first. I think that so many people don't do that. It sounds easy, it sounds simple to say. I trust that like very few people actually do that. Really, I think people should think about what problem they want to solve, really validate it. Is it an important problem? But then really, really focus on the product and question every single requirement.
That's awesome. Let's go ahead and move to Blake.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's making sure you're okay in the process and being able to continuously iterate, right? Like we are at pretty deep areas in our product journeys and they look pretty good, right?
Mhm.
But the products didn't start that way. If you looked at BlitzWallet 5 days ago, it was completely different than it is today. If you looked at BlitzWallet 6 months ago, it was worlds different than what it is today. And I think if you're getting into Bitcoin or starting anything, you have to be okay with the journey and iterating through literally everything to make sure that your product continuously evolves.
I love that. Really good insight. Sabina, let's go ahead and close that question off with you.
Okay, so in addition to what everyone else has said, which I agree with, for me would be like start now. Start now. You're very young and you still have a lot of time to like fail and learn
Mm,
from mistakes. So do not be scared to fail or like look down when you're trying to do stuff. Like just do it and fail and learn from that, which is something like Tando has taught me. I was so scared of failure. My background, where I come from, in my home, like we were not allowed to fail, and I feel like that is very wrong. You're supposed to fail and learn from your mistakes. So don't be scared to fail. Start now. And then, yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, love that advice. I think, especially when we're young, we're a part of Gen Z, you got to take risks, right? Okay, so in 10 to 15 seconds, what educational material would you recommend to students? We'll start with you, Sabina.
Okay, so for me, since I'm African, there's this community, they're called African Bitcoiners. They did create a course specifically tailored for Africans, and it's free. Their website is africabitcoiners.com, and they have a lot of learning materials there. And they also like have everything that's happening in Africa related to Bitcoin in each country, how you can participate, different projects, how you can join. So yeah, check that out if you're if you're from Africa.
Okay, awesome. How about you, Blake? What educational material would you recommend to students?
The Bitcoin Student Network, right?
There you
So
go.
honestly, any in-person educational tool around you, I would
Mm,
100% recommend. There is nothing better than human connections and, being with other Bitcoiners. So whatever you can do to find other people around you and learn from other people around you is what I would 100% recommend to anyone new getting into Bitcoin.
awesome. All right, Shazan.
So I think the best way to learn is just by doing a project that you find interesting. And then I'll piggyback off what Blake said. I think if you can do a project that you find interesting, but also bring in like two friends, for example, this is the best way to learn.
Okay, love it. Okay, so next question, 10 to 15 seconds each. What's one skill every Bitcoin builder needs that has nothing to do with coding? We'll start with you, Shazan, and then we'll make our way back.
So then just have empathy for the customer.
Okay, love it. How about you, Blake?
You took the good one. I was literally gonna say empathy. I'm trying to think of the second one. Um, maybe discipline in being able to just continue to go when people say no, maybe your product isn't a good idea. Well, screw you, I'm gonna make it a good idea, right? Like,
Mm,
you know, being able to endure through times when maybe nobody's believing in you.
yeah, love it. Sabina?
For me, it would be listening and not lecturing. So listen to what people want, what they're requesting. Do not tell them like, no, this is how you should do it, or this is how you should do it. Listen to them and then build for what they're asking for.
Okay, love it. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice before starting your company, what would it be? We'll start with Sabina.
Um, it's yeah, like don't be scared to fail and just say yes more. Say yes to a lot of things. Yes.
Love that. I think that's such great advice. Just say yes to as many things as you can when you're young and trying to build in this space or really any space. How about you, Blake? If you could give your younger self one piece of advice before starting your company, what would it be?
Remember that you choose or chose to pursue this path, right? Like sometimes it's going to be really stressful, and especially on the wallet side when you're working with people's funds, right? Like it can get stressful sometimes. But I chose to do this. So remembering that you chose to do this, so in those stressful times, it's not necessarily about the stress, it's about okay, how can we get through this and continue to build a better product?
Thank you. That's great. Shazan?
Sometimes it's really easy to just get locked in. I think it's always good to just question everything. Then take some time every week, question everything you're doing, why you're doing it. Every requirement on the product you're building. I think that can help you find like truth faster.
Hmm, I love that. Okay. Next question. In 10 to 15 seconds, what's the biggest misconception people have about building a Bitcoin startup? Start with Shazan.
I don't actually know that many people who have misconceptions about building a Bitcoin startup, so this is hard. I think maybe the one thing that I will say is I think a lot of people that are building Bitcoin companies focus on just the internet Bitcoin community, mostly on social media. Bitcoin is this was the most surprising thing to me, and I think it's actually the most inspiring is there is a lot of Bitcoiners out there, people that are not on, just Twitter or social media, and I think it's really important to talk to the variety of users out there in the world,
Mm,
and not just be super pigeonholed. Social media is not always the best sounding board for your ideas, and so I think a lot of people don't realize how big Bitcoin is.
okay. Yeah, I love that. How about you, Blake?
I don't know if it's necessarily building on Bitcoin, but maybe that the Bitcoin community is toxic, right? Like kind of, but honestly, it's more just about voicing opinions and, toxicity and voicing opinions is just how you receive it, right? So
Yeah,
if you can go in and pitch your ideas to people and be okay with someone saying like, "Hey, this is bad." Like, yeah, if someone tells you that's bad, that's not toxic, right? That's just
yeah,
okay. How can we make it better, right?
yeah.
So I would say the biggest misconception is that the Bitcoin community is toxic. I would just say they're very feedback willing.
Yes. Love that. Okay. And Sabina?
For me, it would be that you have to be a technical person to build in the space. That is not quite true. Whatever skills you have, whichever way you can contribute, whether you're a teacher, a marketer, a designer, like you can build on Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if
Yes.
you know what to code or not.
That's awesome. Yeah, I completely agree. Bitcoin is for everyone. Okay, so can I just have each of you give one final takeaway for the students watching in 20 seconds or less? We'll start with Sabina.
Wait, can you come up again?
Just one final takeaway for the students watching, one final piece of advice. I know you iterated, take more risks, say yes to everything, but maybe expand on that in 20 seconds or less.
Yeah, just circle back to what I said. Basically, say yes more. I feel like you get to learn a lot by just opening yourself up to, so many possibilities. Do not limit yourself to one thing. I feel like Bitcoin expands your mind. It expands you in ways you never thought. Like you're so much capable of like a lot of things that you don't
Yeah,
even know yet. So say yes, don't be scared to fail and just like do it and start now. The earlier, the better.
yes, completely agree. Blake?
Make sure what you're doing is something that you're undeniably passionate about. Like I am
Mm,
so passionate about Bitcoin and its ability to actually help the world. And that is what drives me every single day to work extremely long hours in order to build this product, right? If I didn't have that passion, I would have gotten burnt out long ago. But that
yeah,
passion is what keeps me in the game.
yeah,
So make sure if you're getting into Bitcoin and especially building in Bitcoin that you actually have a passion and a belief in Bitcoin itself.
absolutely, completely agree. And Shazan?
Stay curious. I would say that it's very easy to lose curiosity as you
Yeah.
grow older and as you get into the workforce and kind of just be like less open-minded. I'd say always stay curious.
Yeah, love it. Well, guys, this has been such a great conversation, and I think our students are really going to gain some good insights from the three entrepreneurs that we just heard from. I think the three kind of takeaways that I got from this is to take more risks and start now, be incredibly obsessed and passionate about whatever it is you're building, and stay curious. I love that. So if you guys would love to learn more, you guys can follow these three individuals at the Bitcoin Student Network, and we'll have some more amazing panels coming up. So definitely stay tuned. And yeah, thank you guys for joining.